Hot take. The mass that you grew up with is the goofy mass. I was hanging out in the Avoiding Babylon chat last week, and Anthony, one of the hosts, made the observation that a lot of Novus Ordo masses are goofy.
Well, it's not just that. Like what I heard my whole life how there would be saints that had a deep devotion to the mass and they really loved the mass, and I never understood it when I was going to mass because I used to fall asleep at mass and I could barely pay attention until I found the traditional mass.
It's like how can someone have a devotion to these stupid
and then I found the traditional mass. I'm like, oh, that's the mass that the saints were talking about. There's no way they were talking about that other one that was goofy.
And yeah, a lot of Novus Ordo masses are goofy. But goofy is this subjective term, right? I don't think that there's any objective standard of what is goofy and what is not goofy. And I think that what's goofy is cultural. And by cultural, I kind of just mean how you grew up. I grew up trad, and I find a lot of trad stuff to be super goofy. The vestments are kind of goofy in my opinion. It looks like LARP, live action roleplay, to me. The Latin reminds me of LARP. I find Latin to be really goofy. I mean, it's a dead language. It seems like people are doing it just for the pomp and circumstance. I find a lot about the trad mass to be goofy. Now, I find a lot about it to be beautiful too. I think Gregorian chant is beautiful, but it can also be a little goofy. The goofy and beauty, those two things are not mutually exclusive. And I think that a lot of these trad-leaning Catholics want to pretend that there is something that's objectively goofy about the Novus Ordo, and it's not about the traditional Latin Mass, and I just don't think that that's the case. And I don't think that I'm alone in this observation either. Go talk to other people like me. Go talk to other people who grew up trad. At the FSSP chapel that I grew up in, I don't think that our retention rates were that much better than Novus Ordo. They were probably better. But I would say that there's probably like a 50% retention rate after like college. Lots of trad kids get pretty messed up. Like a lot of trad kids become very addicted to drugs and stuff like that. I think it's because they don't get exposed to the real world, and then all of a sudden in college they get it all at once. Now, I can't confirm any of this without evidence. I did find some interesting data about traditionalist Catholics versus their Novus Ordo counterparts, but all of this data looks like it's pre-COVID, which I think the COVID pandemic had a huge impact on the trad movement. And also none of it is about retention rates. It's just about people who actually go to mass and what their current views are. So none of this is surprising. Trad Catholics are more trad than non-trad Catholics. Okay, cool. But in the future research, there are a whole bunch of topics noted that just the current data doesn't explain or doesn't answer at all. And I think that the last question, finally, how well does the traditional Latin Mass retain young adults once they leave their parents' home? Rigorous study on these topics are planned for 2019. I can't wait to see that data. I haven't found it yet. I'm not sure that data ever actually did come out. If you know about it, though, let me know. I'd be really interested to see it. But yeah, I bet you it would be better, but not as good as a lot of trads think. And so I think that if you asked, the 50% of trads who leave, I think that we'd all say that the traditional Latin Mass is pretty goofy. So all of that to say is that the hot take for today is that the Novus Ordo is not goofy, at least not like in an objective way, more goofy than the traditional Latin Mass. The Mass that you grew up with is the goofy Mass. Let me know what you think down below. Thanks.